Hey, this is Christopher Glennon, aka C2, and if you're in the market for a newer used vehicle, give me a call at 619-368-5550. I work at Kearney Mesa Dodge Jeep and Ram and have access to over 500 new vehicles as well as over 600 used. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right. I'm C1.
And I'm C2.
And this is
The Christopher Show.
The Pixel Lounge. Located in San Diego, the Pixel Lounge provides you with creator space for content creation for podcasts, photo shoots, interviews, and more. If you're interested, the link for the studio is in the description below. Click it and book your session today.
So there's a new game that's been popping right now. And
Speaking of games.
Yeah.
So speaking of games, because obviously we have the sports thing, transitioning from sports things to nerd things.
Well, technically it's esports, okay?
All right, digital sports. don't make me. I've got some phrases about that.
No, but there's this new game that's been blowing
Real
up.
sports versus imagined. Go ahead.
But there's this new game that's been blowing up, though. It's called Lethal Company. You've heard me playing it. And by heard, I mean me screaming.
Let's talk about how I learned about this game. I didn't even know what the game was. It came out October 23rd. It was released October 23rd.
Yep.
It's called Lethal Company. I'm sitting there working on some stuff one night, and I hear someone screaming in a way that sounds, I don't even know. I don't even want to say it because we're on air. But it doesn't sound like the way a man should scream. Let me just say that. A man should scream, be like, oh! And instead, I'm hearing this shit that's like a giggle scream or a laugh scream.
Because you're laughing, because one, it's not real. You're laughing because it's like, oh, fuck, I need to get out. Or, excuse my language. But you're like, oh, crap, I need to get out of here kind of thing. And it's just it's a horror game with a really basic concept to what the objective is. Basically, for those of you that don't know, Lethal Company, it's a game where you're a scrap collector in the future. You go to different moons to collect scraps from abandoned warehouses that have monsters in them. That's the easiest way to describe what the creatures are. But the monsters are there to try and kill you. And you try and basically collect as much scrap metal as you can to resell it, meet the quota. If you don't meet the quota, you die. And the way that you die is basically while the spaceship is up in space, the company opens the doors and shoots you out into the vacuum of space.
Well, and in addition to that, this game also, and you have to have a flashlight, and you can't use the flash. Like, tell about the flashlight.
So, while you're within the labyrinth that is a warehouse, it's pitch dark in most of it. Your only resources that you have typically are a flashlight. You can have walkie-talkies and a shovel. Typically, on your first day when you first start out, you will have 2 flashlights for you and your friend, and then either a shovel or you'll get 2 walkie-talkies, but only 1 shovel or 2 walkie-talkies. The shovel is to use as offense against the monsters so that you can try and defend yourself a little bit. The walkie-talkies are more so that if you get lost or if your friend's looking at the monitor kind of thing, he can at least guide you on where to go and let you know that there's a monster around that corner. Don't go that way. Take a left instead.
Well, that, and then you're talking about the flashlights. I know that I heard, and I haven't played this game, but I've watched him because I was like, is it only my son screaming like this? Because there's a bit of embarrassment because I had a guest over when it first happened. I'm like, man, please at least like sound like you're dying like a man. Like, I don't know what to say. Like, but so I go in there and I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you? And I felt like Red from that 70s show, dumbass. And so, I'm like, surely it's not just him. So I'm like, let me go on Instagram and look for these videos. So I looked for other videos of Lethal Company, and I'm like, oh, thank God, they all sound like that.
Yeah, it's not just me. Don't worry. It's everybody because, one, we know it's not real, but the thing is you have a headset on, and it has proximity chat. So us speaking here...
Proximity chat. So let's talk about what that means in the game.
So proximity chat is us speaking here. We can hear each other really well, whereas somebody outside on the other side of the room or on the other side of the building kind of thing, we'd have to yell really loud for them to hear. So you'll be doing your own thing down the hallway, and you'll hear your friend go, oh, fuck, okay, go run. And you don't know what it is, but you see him running, and then you see a monster chasing him, and all you can think is, oh, shoot, I need to turn and run too now. So now you begin booking it out of fear, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and so I was curious. I'm like, what the hell is going on here? So I had to watch.
So the other thing with proximity chat is you hear your own footsteps, you hear your friend's footsteps down the hall and around the corner, and you'll hear footsteps of the monsters that are around you trying to crawl around you as well. But you don't necessarily know where it is. It's almost as if you were in that warehouse kind of thing, and you can hear the footsteps because the proximity chat it'll basically like circle around your head kind of stuff.
Well, and let me say this also. The other cool thing about this is you'll be talking to it, and it'll be like, hey, Lalo, hey, Lalo. And you'll hear, like, they'll be talking back and forth, Lalo this, Lalo that. Lalo's his best friend, by the way, and they play this game together. But then all of a sudden, be like, Lalo?
Yeah, exactly.
Lalo?
You'll be talking to him normally, and you'll be like, hey, dude, did you make a right or a left at that turn? And you'll just hear crickets. And then you'll be like, yo, dude, you still there? And you'll, like, start to walk that way, and then you'll see, like, a blood splatter on the ground. And you're like, nope, I'm turning around and running. I'm out of here.
And so, yeah, it's an interesting game. I can't deny that. It's undeniable, actually, because on Steam, it got a perfect score of 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like, it's one of the few, if maybe the only one, I think, is what it said. I can't remember the exact statistic. It got a perfect 10 out of 10 score. On top of that, this game, it said $14.95 for me, but he got it for $10,
Yeah,
and he
so
said it's $10.
So on the Steam app, Steam, it's downloadable. It only costs $9.99. So pretty much $10. But the most amazing thing is, one, it was produced by one developer. It wasn't a company. It wasn't, a group of people. It was one guy who was like, here, let me go ahead and try and draft up this game, see how it does. Puts it out there, and it was, like you said, it was released October 22nd or 23rd. I think 22nd was early release.
Was the pre-release.
Yeah,
and then,
23rd was the actual release. And it already has over, what was it, 50 million downloads? Or
So in 7 weeks, it was released October 23rd, 7 weeks, 5.6 million downloads at $10 each. But for some reason or another, it had a number of $51.8 million.
Yeah.
And the reason I think that happened is there were probably promo codes and stuff like that.
Or the early release was free kind of thing, and just as a beta version kind of thing.
Okay. So it's gotten popular. It's taken over TikTok. It's taken over YouTube. Like, this game is huge. And I can see why it's fun. I clown him. I make fun of him, but that's because he's my son, and that's what you're supposed to do as a dad.
Yeah.
And on top of that, when he's embarrassing you in front of a guest by laughing like that, it's like, what the hell is wrong with you?
But you can't blame me either once you like actually are in the game kind of thing. Like, I handed him the headset as well at one point while me and my friend were going through the maze kind of thing. So I'm just going through it blindly. I can't hear any of the sound of my friend talking to me or like the sounds that are going on around us, the footsteps. So he's hearing all of that, and you did end up having a jump scare at one point, I believe.
I had a jump scare, but I would still die like a 70s kid as opposed to one of you.
You had a jump scare where you jumped back. You weren't playing the physical game. You weren't actually involved into it. You weren't.
But I knew it was coming. I even told you, I'm like, I know this shit's coming. It'll be here in a second. I didn't jump and scream like you guys jump and scream like little girls.
Yeah,
excuse that, little girls, because I know that that's probably insulting to you.
Oh my god. No, but I think the one that I had you do,
and I mean insulting because they don't want you screaming like them either. Go ahead.
No, but I think the one, was it where I got shot out into space, or was it where an actual monster kind of like turned around?
No, the one where I jumped was definitely something came on the screen that I knew. I was like, because you were going down the hallways in the labyrinth, and I'm like, I know there's about to be something around these. And here's the thing, again, it's like your phone being in dark mode, except it's even darker, and the only time you get light is when you flash the flashlight.
And the thing is, you have
flashlight.
So the thing is, with the flashlight, you actually have a battery life as well that dwindles really fast on the first level of the flashlight. So there are two different kind of flashlights: a regular flashlight and then the pro flashlight, which has a longer battery life. The thing is, as soon as your battery life is done, you cannot see anymore. You have to try and remember your way out of the maze.
He's as passionate about this as I am about the Michigan game. Like, that's what I've realized.
It's been so much fun, though, because there was one night that me and Lalo were playing, though, and so you start off, as soon as you enter the warehouse, so you land from the spaceship onto the moon, you have to run to the warehouse. As soon as we enter the warehouse, typically there are 3 doors that you can go through. I went through this one straight ahead. My friend went through the one to the left. As soon as I went through the one straight ahead, I immediately died. No idea what killed me. Immediately died. I'm like, what the heck was that? I'm now watching my friend play. He turns around and he sees what's called a coil head, which is basically a mannequin with a slinky for a neck, and probably like a 3-foot slinky for a neck, and then the head at the end. And the thing with this monster is that if you take your eyes off of it, it sprints super fast at you.
So I know that there are other monsters as well, and we were looking at some of the websites today that talk about the game. One of them is a monster that your friend can see, but you can't see. And what
Yes.
is the ramification of that one? Go ahead.
So that one's called the Ghost, I guess, Ghost Girl.
To ruin the whole game for you.
But basically, it's called Ghost. It's either called Ghost or Ghost Girl. But basically, it's a little girl that's a ghost, and only one person can see her at a time. So you're freaking out because you're telling your friends that, like, dude, I see a little girl. She's dancing right now. What the is going on? Kind of thing. I need to get out of here. They're like, dude, what are you talking about? I don't see anything. There's nothing here. What are you talking about? And basically, as soon as she starts skipping and running towards you, that's when you know you're about to die.
Well, and then once you die, is another friend able to see her?
Yes. So now,
that's great.
Now it latches onto
So it's
another
daisy
one.
chain.
Pretty much. So it latches onto another one of your friends that's around there. And the other thing within the game is that, like, you'll hear voices, like, even if you're playing by yourself or you're playing
Randy
with a
Orton
friend.
kind of stuff. I hear voices.
Yes. But no, you'll hear voices. Like, you'll hear, like, you know, help, I'm over here. Come save me kind of thing. It's the monsters basically trying to coerce you to run that direction.
Okay.
Yeah, but it'll sound like a legitimate person almost. Like it's, is this part of the game? Like I'm supposed to go
Like
help
you have
this
to know who your
random
boys
survivor?
are, or else you're going to find out that they're not your boys.
Exactly. And there are different mods that you can download for the game. There's actually one recently that basically AI generates your friends' voices. I saw that one earlier today, and basically you'll hear your friend. So I saw the video today though, and it's like,
So what's a mod, real quick?
so a mod is basically a modification to how the game's played.
Okay.
You know, people typically, you know, draft up kind of codes,
Do you
kind
have
of
to
stuff.
pay for this?
No, it's typically free downloads.
All right. So basically, there's a mod that's AI that will generate your friends' voices so that you think it's them instead of.
Exactly. So what happened in this clip I
it's a
watched?
trap.
Exactly. So what happened in this clip that I had watched was it had this guy and this girl. They're about to go into the thing. She's still outside. He goes in. As soon as he goes in, he hears her same voice saying, "Hey, dude, come over here. I need some help real quick." And he's all like, what? So he turns around, sees that she's not in the warehouse with her, drops back out, sees that she's still out there. He's like, "You weren't in there, were you?" And she's like, "No, why?" And he's all like, "I just heard your voice."
That's an
Oh my
evil
God.
mod to do.
Evil
So
mod.
it's someone that programmed this and dropped
Exactly.
it in the game. I like that idea. Like I
Yeah.
like the way the game's getting better. So, but the person that developed that doesn't get the money. The guy
No.
that created the game still gets it.
Well, yeah,
because
exactly,
that
'cause-
encourages someone else to play the game.
And now they
that
download
dude's
mo-
making bank.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, 56, 51 million.
And congrats to him, because this reminds me of Minecraft when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like Minecraft made a lot of freaking money. What was the other game that you used to do where you flew around all the time and oh shoot. It was a map. Basically you had different suits and outfits you were trying to buy.
I don't even
Started with
remember
an
that
F, I think.
Fortnite?
Fortnite. There you go.
Oh my
Yes,
God,
yes.
Fortnite. It's still blowing up, and that's a whole other.
Do you still
topic
play
kind
that
of
or
thing.
no?
Yes and no, not really. But what they did do recently was
Yes
that
and
they
no, not really. Yes and no, not really. I like that. Go ahead.
yes and no, but not as much as I used to. Really.
Okay.
Basically, what happened though was probably about 3, 4, maybe 5 weeks ago. They had basically released that they were going back to the season 5 originally, when like the first season 5. So the map that I played on 4
So
years
the height
ago.
of their popularity.
Somewhat the height of their popularity. One of their original kind
Like
of
we
maps.
need to tap back into past profits because the current profits aren't doing it.
Probably that's what really happened. But they basically dropped it that they were going to revert back to that old map, the same map that I played on 4 years ago.
Gotcha.
So a lot of people were like, "Holy cow! I can't believe I can go back and play. Land at this same spot I used to 4 years ago." For nostalgia effect, a lot of people hopped back on.
That's why I get a Nintendo, though. I haven't had a Nintendo in probably 15 years or whatever, but if I were going to get a Nintendo, it would be so I could play the games I used to play as a kid. Same
Exactly.
thing, so I get it.
Nostalgia effect kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
was
a lot
like,
of
I
people
was
re-downloaded
13.
it. I was like
5 years ago, you were
Yeah.
17, so.
5 years ago, 17, yeah. But no, so back to Lethal Company though, you were talking about the Ghost Girl. There's also this thing called a Bracken, which is basically like a hunter, and he'll track you down throughout the map or throughout the maze while you're going through it, and he'll basically just show up. He runs super fast. He'll randomly show up behind you and basically just snap your neck, and that's all you see is him snapping your neck, and you're dead. The other thing is when you die, you can talk to the other people who are dead.
Yeah.
But you can't talk to the people who are still alive
Because
running
you
through
can't
the
give them
map.
hints about what's going on.
Exactly. You can't tell them, "Oh yeah, I died, dude. Don't
Hey,
worry
yo,
about
my
it.
body's
Run
over
back."
here.
Yeah.
Wait, don't you drag the bodies back to the rocket or back to the spaceship or something?
So if you die and they don't take your body back to the spaceship, they lose 20% of what they have earned.
The loot, then.
Not the loot, but what they have in the bank, pretty much.
Okay.
If they do drag your body back, they get that. They keep basically that 20%.
Okay, so they're basically making profit off of you dying.
Yeah.
Because now they only have to split the profit between 3 people instead of 4.
Well, no,
So
because
if-
you still regenerate after you die. Once you're back on the ship, you'll regenerate. But
I like the idea of them making more money off of you dead. They're all killing you. They're like, no, go further.
Yeah, no, but so basically it's a punishment if you don't retrieve the body, but if you do retrieve the body, it's just a punishment against your current account, not what you're planning on selling later.
Okay, and the whole point of this game is basically to keep collecting things. What are some of the items you collect?
You collect engines, you collect like power cells, which are basically like almost like a nuclear reactor kind of thing, or nuclear
Scrap
core
metal
reactor.
kind of stuff then?
Yeah, pretty much scrap metal. And the other thing to remember is if you and your whole team ends up dying, the ship leaves and all of your loot, whether you got it from the last planet or the planet 2 planets before that, all of that is gone, and now you reset from 0 scraps.
I remember you and your coworker were playing the other night. Isn't that what happened to you? Or did
That
you
is what ended up happening is we ended up landing. We ended up playing day 1. We got a ton of scrap metal. We passed what quota was pretty much. We land day 2, and we end up dying and losing everything. So now we're on day 3. Our minimum quota was like $173, and we were like trying to run through the maze and try and find stuff. But the other thing is that
Is that really low, $173, or is that really high?
it's medium, I'd say.
Medium,
It's
okay.
it's like 2 really good items and maybe like 3 or 2 like small price items.
So you wind up getting killed by being greedy, right? You're like, oh, I passed 173, but I'm going to go back for more.
Well, yeah, typically you end up. So that's the other thing is you have 3 days to meet your quota. If you go to sell your stuff before the 3rd day, you're selling it at like a 77% profit. You're not selling it at 100% of what the value is.
Okay, so you want to wait till the 3rd day and collect as much as you can. So you can go over 173 then.
Exactly. So you
So if you get $500, let's say 500, then basically you get all of your profit, 100% of the profit on day 3.
on that 500. But if you
So
go,
day 3 is let's take this now because you say day 3, but it's not really day 3. How does time work in the game?
so basically you have 3 days to meet quota. You'll have day 0. So after the first day, you'll get back on the ship, take off, and now you have 2 days. Get back on the ship, take off to another planet. Now you have 1 day. After that 1 day, you'll get back on the ship, hop up, and it'll say 0 days left, which is basically now you need to go sell your
So
stuff.
can you technically do 3 days and 45 minutes of real life?
I would say probably about maybe even less, to be honest. I mean, depending on how greedy you get, because if you decide that you want to stay on the moon and go through as much as you possibly can, you can be there for 15 minutes, or you can go ahead and just grab like 2 or 3 items, hop back on the ship, and take off.
Okay. So the longer you're in, so what really kills you? Is it the greed because you decide that you want to try to get all of the things on one mission
Yes and
instead
no.
of 3 moons?
Yes and no. So the thing is, you want to try and grab as much as you can at once.
Yeah.
What you do though is typically you'll have one person at the ship kind of help. Like if you have 3 people, you have one person at the ship helping to guide. You'll have one person or 2 people who's going through the maze a second time, and they'll basically go ahead and collect as many items as they can, and then you try and get that back onto the ship. But the thing that really kills you as well is the random generation of what tier difficulty the planet is. So it's on an S tier kind of system, S to D tier. So you have S, A, B, C, and D. D being the easiest, not too many monsters kind of thing. S being the hardest with tons of monsters and different kinds of monsters. And basically you'll randomly land in between there. But if you land on a B moon or a B hazard level is what it's called. The B tier system is called basically the hazard level. You have to go in, and it's pretty tough when you're on like level 1 pretty much. You only have your flashlight and stuff, but you're still needing to collect something to make that day at least somewhat profitable.
Okay, so let's try to wrap this up a little bit. So on this game, the mission is to get as much loot as you can to sell to the company. You can't beat the game, correct?
There's no winning at the game. There's just progressing more.
All right,
kind of thing.
so who's the leader in terms of loot right now? Because obviously they have a leaderboard, right?
I haven't checked that out, to be honest with you.
Is there a leaderboard, do you think?
I wouldn't know, to be honest, because honestly, the thing is, after you...
Because here's the thing, with those games comes prestige, right? Mm-hmm. So if there's prestige, then there's a reason to keep playing to try to accumulate more. Is there a player that someone goes, oh, they're freaking awesome at this game?
Not that
Not
I've
yet?
seen at the very least.
Not yet, because
Yeah,
it's only
'cause
7 weeks old. Let's
yeah.
remember, it's 7 weeks old. But there's got to be something at the end of the day. Otherwise, don't get me wrong, it's a great game. Like, I've watched you play. But my thing is, in my day, I could beat games. So I played, like, Zelda, I beat it. I played Mario, I beat it. Things like that. This game you can't beat. So if you can't beat, there has to be some kind of recognition.
Not really. It's more just having fun with your friends kind of thing. Like, at least at the time being. Maybe down the line they'll have some kind of recognition thing. But I mean, you look at like Fortnite kind of thing as well. You can win a match, but you don't beat the game kind of thing.
Is there someone at Fortnite that's really good?
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely top levels and they have
That's what I
tournaments
mean.
kind of stuff.
So that's why I say I think
for
that at some
this
point
game
this
and-
game evolves.
maybe it evolves, but it's up to the developer really and how he
Yeah.
wants to push it. But it's also like, it's more of a good, fun pastime horror game with your friends.
It is for now, but let me say this. It's only 7 weeks old.
Exactly.
If it doesn't find a way to
Evolve.
make things elite to where all of a sudden players begin to get recognized and they have something to aspire to, then you could find it fall off really fast. So as fast as it, and don't get me wrong, the dude's made $50 million. Like for me, I'd be like done.
Yeah.
But
He actually just dropped another update this weekend.
okay, so at some point he has to make it such that there's some kind of prestige thing that goes along with it. So I'm sure that he has people that are engaging him to tell him, hey, here's what you need to do. Because there's gamification, there's winning. There's got to be winning in some way. If you're not going to be able to beat the game, at least there's a way you can be ranked in the game.
Yeah.
So I think that that's where we see that head. So that was my phone, and that will suck. But the screen didn't crack, I'm almost certain.
With your luck, it probably didn't.
I know, right? So anyway, let's wrap this up. Actually, I do want to speak of one more topic before we wrap up. So we watched wrestling this past week. There was a big name that came back. This was not scripted. This is very much off
Yeah,
the cuff.
CM Punk, though.
CM Punk, though, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in wrestling. Not just that, but Randy Orton came
Yep.
back. So we had Randy Orton and CM Punk at SummerSlam come back.
The way they did the CM Punk return, too, was crazy because it was the end of, what was
It was the end
SummerSlam?
of
Or-
SummerSlam. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
No,
not
no,
SummerSlam. Thanksgiving. Survivor Series.
There we go, Survivor Series. And, even the camera, like they finish up the last match, camera's panning out. They've got the logo pretty much ready, set to end the episode. And then all of a sudden, CM Punk's music hits, and everyone's like, oh, shoot, kind of thing. Like, and then the camera pans around
Oh,
to see
his
him.
song hits hard. I love
Oh,
his
it
song.
always does. Yeah, Cold
So-
of Personality.
Yeah, I haven't heard that in so long on I mean, it's been 10 years, I think, since he's been on
think
WWE.
so, yeah.
So I'm glad to see CM Punk back. That was an amazing thing to have happen because he left with pipe bomb.
Yep.
He literally sat down and let everybody know what he really thought about everybody. And I still admire that. I mean, it's been 10
yeah.
years. That was brave. That took a lot, especially because he knew what was going to happen. He knew he was going to get blackballed and all that other stuff.
Yep.
And so to see him come back now, Triple H welcomed him back. The other wrestlers are welcoming him back as well.
Supposedly, except for Seth Rollins, right?
Yeah, supposedly. Seth will welcome him back. I mean, Seth appreciates the competition. I like Seth Rollins as a wrestler.
Yeah.
I think that he truly understands what combative kind of situations can create, so he's going to monopolize that. Obviously, we know wrestling's real. The reason I bring this up and I wrap this into this, we've talked about Michigan, we've talked about your game, Lethal Company, and now we're talking about another thing as well that we've both been passionate about over the years. And, I mean, we watched wrestling back in the early 2000s with Undertaker,
Yep,
Triple H, HBK and those guys, Stone Cold, Rock,
Jeff
all of them.
Hardy. Jeff Hardy's my favorite of all time.
Oh, Jeff Hardy, amazing with the things he did. So I wanted to wrap it in just for where they are modern times. It has been kind of stagnant for a while. Don't get me wrong. I know Roman Reigns has held the title for 3 years, but it's kind of like he doesn't fight anybody. So I saw him in person at Dragon's Lair one time when I was there.
Oh, yeah, you did tell me
I'm
about
about the same height he is, and granted, he's got about 25 to 50 pounds on me. But when I look at the wrestlers now, it's been kind of boring without Randy. Randy's a great wrestler. I loved when I saw Randy and Riddle. Riddle's been kicked out.
Oh, really?
He got let go.
Oh, wow.
There were a lot of people that were let go recently, and maybe we should start doing a little wrestling update from time to time because I love wrestling.
Yeah,
I still watch
same.
it. I watch it every Monday night. We see Becky.
Yeah,
The
Becky
women's
Lynch.
division has gotten super tough. You have Becky and Charlotte. You have Nia Jax from San Diego.
Yep.
It's evolved in terms of how aggressive it's gotten, and I don't know if Becky and Charlotte took it to that. Charlotte Flair being Ric Flair's daughter, but I do know that they were the first time I recognized that, holy shit, the women have gotten aggressive.
Dude, Charlotte did that freaking the
the taking her through the wall.
Well, I was thinking about the backflip at Survivor Series where she,
yeah,
from the top of the cage, she did a backflip and landed on all of them.
the women are wrestling on the same level as the guys at this point. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, they legit sacrifice their bodies with those high flying moves that we saw in the 90s during the ruthless aggression. Ruthless aggression was early 2000s, but even before that, the 90s where you had
ECW kind of stuff.
exactly ECW. That's exactly what I'm thinking. And the thing I saw this week, CM Punk came out. He said, Roman Reigns, you may be a Paul Heyman guy, but I want you to know who the original Paul Heyman guy was. So I see that storyline developing really well.
Yeah.
I see Randy's going after Roman Reigns. That storyline's developing really well.
Going after the bloodline.
Seth Rollins has Jey Uso, who's trying to get the title from him, but that's more of a friendly kind of thing, whereas the Roman Reigns thing is more combative. Wrestling's hitting an exciting phase right now in the 2020s, and it's been a while since it's been this exciting. John Cena has come back recently. I think they're going to take him into the next WrestleMania as well. And they're giving him, right now we're in the road to WrestleMania. So you have Survivor Series, SummerSlam, and all of that leads into that. So you start bringing in all these players.
Yep.
And you culminate in that. But a lot of respect to both divisions, the men's and the women's, because they are both killing it right now. And I love it, whether it's Raw or SmackDown. I haven't watched SmackDown in a long time. I'm inclined to watch that because Randy just signed with SmackDown. So I want to see what happens with the Randy and Roman Reigns storyline. But yeah, it's going great.
No, it's a great. They're finally hitting their stride again, and it's been, like you said, probably at least a decade really since that they've had something great like this build up.
Yeah, and Vincent McMahon, I'm going to miss him. He's gotten older, so he's not in the scene anymore. Triple H can't wrestle anymore. I hate that. I hate that he can't wrestle because I would love to see him for one more match, but he has heart problems, so I get that. Yep. You see Ric Flair's gone over to AEW.
I didn't know that about Ric Flair.
Recently went over there, so he's working with some of the younger guys, building them up. You have Christian and Edge that have gone over there. I like this era because I feel like it's going back a little, and AEW is nowhere near on the level that WCW achieved yet.
Yeah.
But you had Cody Rhodes, who just came from AEW. CM Punk just came from AEW. So AEW is out there fighting. I like what they're doing. I like some of the product they're putting out. I like the product the WWE is putting out now, and I just think it's an exciting time.
Yeah, no, it's a good time for wrestling.
Yeah, and it's been a long time for that. You see Dominic Mysterio now, and
Dominic Mysterio and his girlfriend, what's her name?
Mommy. Rhea Ripley. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. And their relationship. And then you also see the rest of that group. What are they called?
LWO. Latino World Order.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you're talking about Judgment Day.
Yeah, Judgment Day.
So there's
That's what
Judgment Day
about.
and Latino World Order is actually to do with Rey Mysterio and his little group that he set up.
Gotcha.
Which harkens back to the Eddie Guerrero days.
Yeah.
So, and I love the luchador style of wrestling. I think that that's great. You see Dragon, what's his first name? I can't think of it at the moment. But anyway, he's out there now. You have him and others that are trying to bring the luchador style to the U.S. as well. And then I just saw recently Shinsuke Nakamura. Triple H is trying to get the Japanese style of wrestling more integrated as well so that it becomes more diverse in terms of styles of wrestling.
Yeah.
So exciting times. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with it. I don't watch UFC because that's legitimate. They're both legitimate violence, but the wrestlers are trying to help each other so they don't hurt each other, and they still do very risky stuff. UFC is trying to, they're trying to make sure that you tap out. Literally, they're like, no. There's
either
none of
tap
this fake
out or
stuff.
knockout, whichever one.
And it's not staged. It is, hey, you're going to tap out because someone tapped you out. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with WWE, where they go, and what they do with the product in the coming days. So let's wrap that up. Let's make that the finishing topic. The reason I did that is because of what we used to do when you were a kid. But with that, I'm C1.
And I'm C2.
And this is The Christopher Show. And thank you for watching. The Merchant Card Group. If your business needs payment processing services, hit me up and I'll give you a referral code. With my referral code, send them your statement, and if they can't beat your current cost, they will give you $250. That's how confident they are that they can beat your cost. You can reach me at CA Glennon on Instagram or at 619-249-9328.